It's day 2 here and we have tons of stuff going on. We got Raphael in the machine, he's gathering gravel. Felipe's in the truck dumping more rock. He's gonna head back out up to Warwick and pick up more stone for the project. Alessio's our operator on the Kubota because that MT100 broke down. Second time on that drive belt. But thanks to our friends at Warwick General Rental, we were able to pick up this SCL 1000. Pretty smooth operating machine, and we're back in business removing gravel and rock so we can shape the pond out.
Are you ready?
So the guys have been working on removing all the cobble around the edge and all that gravel that used to all be there. There was tons of it, buckets upon buckets out of the pond, as well as around the edges. Right now we're working on this little bit of cobble around that doorway that we'll be saving. That'll stay right in that place with a little bit of trimming. I might even try to lift this branch up so it hangs over the water, which would be a really cool look. We're almost ready to start reshaping. Once the rest of this gets out of here, we have a little bit of debris at the bottom. Once we pull down this edge, we will be able to shape the pond out and try to get liner in this thing before the afternoon rain. So the old liner is almost out of the pond and we're ready to clean up whatever's left in the bottom. I'm gonna spray some lines out shortly over here and over there and then hop in that excavator and start digging this pond. All the soil that we have, we're gonna be bailing it over right over where Raphael is and our broken MT100 so we can level that area out. That whole side needs to raise up about 6 inches. Original plan was to use some retaining rocks, but instead of retaining rocks, we're gonna be able to nicely place some boulders in the landscape, which will look a lot better, more natural, and hold back the air. So we got a second tank set up here thanks to Felipe running back to the shop to grab some more rock, another tank, and we're filling it up with partial hose water and partial pond water. We're gonna move over the larger fish into this tank, kind of split up the fish load a little bit for the weekend, put another air bubbler in here. And while we got that going on, we finished shaping the pond and we're ready for the fabric and the liner. So we got the pond all dug out. It's 3 foot deep down in the middle. Waterfall will be over where Ralphie is and the guys. They're just checking out the rain. Radar's coming in, heavy rain coming soon, big storms, so we're getting all prepared for that, and we got it all dug out, ready for some fish caves over here, a nice fish feeding area that's nice deep down to the bottom, and then we're going to be doing something different in that area over there where Ralphie and Alessio are sitting. We're going to actually make a nice deep stream. That's going to be a big holding pool, and the waterfall is going to fall into that. Something different, something unique. We have rain coming very shortly, and the guys got the liner in the pond just in the nick of time. We're going to take a late lunch due to the fact of the rain so we can get everything in perfect shape for the storm and the weekend. So we're back at it. It's Monday morning. I'm here with my teammates Raphael and Carlos, and they just got the fabric in the pond. Felipe's over there grabbing some bags of pea gravel so we can put a nice layer down at the bottom of the pond and we can start sending our first course of boulders. We're gonna be putting in some fish caves in here. And then behind me, we actually have Robbie, the Bobcat mechanic from Summit Bobcat here, fixing our MT100. Drove down from Walden, New York. He's gonna get this thing up and running hopefully today, so we no longer need to rent a machine for this project. Rentals can be costly, but it's always good to have that available to you. A reliable place like Warwick General Rental to step in and supply a machine at last minute so you can keep the job rolling. A lot of guys say their first rock is important. To me, in this pond, it's actually where the cave's gonna be. I want one cave to be viewable from the main sitting area, and this is gonna act as a frame boulder for that left-hand side of the cave, as well as the height of that wall right there. That is a pretty tall wall, but we wanted this pond to feel nice and deep due to the fact the Homeowner has plenty of koi. We're only gonna be putting about a dozen back in here, but we want them to grow nice and big in their new home. If you look here, we got the 2 cave rocks in. We got one on the left that's a little more vertical and one on the right that's a little more horizontal. I really don't like to set them the same with one big and one big, or horizontal and a horizontal. I kind of like to mix it up. So when we're all done, the entrance to that cave looks super organic. So we're moving along nicely and the rock pile is starting to diminish. We got some beautiful boulders in the bottom of the pond there, and we normally set the large boulders first, then a couple of mediums, and then we start filling in those areas with smaller rock. We like to mix it all up. We don't like big rock, big rock, big rock. It's got to be like big rock, rock, maybe another big rock, medium, small, big, medium, who knows? But you really want to mix it up down there. So to fix this problem on this MT100, they had to pull the hydraulic tank, the muffler. Now we're trying to figure out how we can make that all align so the belt does not fall apart. See the belt right there, it's all torn up and running against the body of the machine. Robbie thinks it might be a motor mount problem, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. What a great mixture of small rock and large boulder. The cave is right underneath there. You can see the tube in the back, and we're coming in with this nice flat rock. But instead of it sitting flat on the edge, we're gonna have it on a slight angle. We dug the soil out so it's slanted down in the pond. Be a great accent boulder. And then we could continue with some of the smaller rock up and around it. Right over there where the machine is, we're gonna be digging a shelf out that's roughly about 5-6 inches down in the water. And I have a beautiful boulder sitting there behind me that Felipe's gonna bring over. It's gonna sit right there. I really like how that rock came out, slanted in right next to the Norway spruce. That boulder there is gonna go flat. Like I said, 6 inches down in the water right over here, and then we'll be able to continue rocking this out with smaller boulders. So now the guys are getting the skimmer in place. Sometimes we set it in the beginning. This time we're setting it midway through the pond. Raphael's getting the level correct. That thing's gotta be level front to back and side to side. It's so hot, you gotta cool off with the hose. Oh man. Whew. That feels good. We got tons of boulders set today and even the skimmer in place. I would say almost half the pond is rock, and we're gonna finish off this bottom section. We probably got another half an hour to go. Set a couple more boulders and we'll be back tomorrow. So we're back at it down here, day 3 of building on this pond. We are about to finish this front area right here. That's where we're gonna be working on first thing this morning. We got a nice feeding stone in the truck over there, a couple other nice boulders, and we're also gonna be adding a cave right down in there, which is gonna be really neat. We also bought a bunch of aquatic plants you can see behind me, and that's gonna go in that beach area. We're gonna have a nice shallow area for the marginal plants to grow. It'll also give a great backdrop to the backside of the pond. When we first showed up here, when the pond was first put in, there was a whole bunch of those tall plants on the front side blocking your view from the main viewing area. We switched that around, made that front area nice and deep, and then moved the plants to the back side of the pond. The plants are a very important part of the Aquascape Ecosystem Pond. Having a good mixture of plants, annual and perennial, is great for the filtration. A tropical plant will filter longer than an annual plant in colder climates due to the fact that they don't have to store energy to their roots and they can keep growing until the first frost. So somehow we just got that huge rock in here with that small little Kubota. Ralphie was in the driver's seat. What was it like putting in that big boulder there? You don't want to say anything? I think his heart was pounding a little bit. But he did a great job, and we got that huge rock down here using every bit of what that Kubota could handle. It's a perfect framer for this cave, and we have to come about 10 inches higher, then we can fit a beautiful feeding stone in here on the edge. It is lunchtime, and we got a lot done so far. Great progress today. We even got this awesome feeding stone in place. When we get back from lunch, we're gonna start working on that waterfall area, and we're gonna turn that into a deep pool back there. Something I've never tried before, but by placing a couple of boulders in a series and foaming behind it to make a dam, when the pond is full, the water level will be equal. But when that waterfall turns on, that foam will act as a dam and allow that area to rise up a little bit and pour into the pond. It is actually a part of the pond, but just with a divider of rocks, just like a beaver would build a dam in nature. But instead of logs, we're gonna be using rocks and foam. Let's see what happens. Stay tuned. So after looking at the situation, we're gonna change plans a little bit. We're gonna keep it a deeper pool back there, but we're going to utilize the normal technique. We do have enough liner up ahead, so we're going to be able to fold that in and backfill with some soil. It'll be a little bit easier and definitely foolproof because it's the normal way of building. So the base waterfall boulders are set, and they're underneath that liner right now. We had to flip that back over. That way we could excavate out the waterfall area. That's what Raphael is doing up there in the excavator. As soon as he's done, Alessio will be raking that out. We'll be tamping it, getting ready for the biofall. The biofall is going to be positioned facing towards me. And the reason for that is so they get a view from over there, as well as when they're walking outside of the house. So right now we're getting ready to set the signature 6,000 biofall in position. We're gonna bury it almost down in the ground, but we have a nice drop on the front side already. So we're not worried about the ultimate height of the waterfall. We'd rather care about how natural the biofall is gonna look. If it's too high, it's gonna look like a big mound sticking out of the ground, and that's not something we want. We want it to look more like a spring coming out amongst the plants. Raphael's tamping down the bottom, getting it ready, and I'm digging out the trench inside the excavator right now. This is where the 2-inch hose will go, and that'll lead over to the skimmer area that's behind me. So one thing that's neat is that when Ralphie goes to cobble this area out, we brought a bunch of creeping Jenny with us, and we're gonna dot that in the cobbles. By dotting it in the cobbles underneath that tree, it'll be a great contrasting color, give a beautiful carpet. Another neat thing is that he's gonna add a cedar stick in there to raise that one branch up above the water level. The rest of the branches will have to trim a little bit, maybe even a little bit of this one, but if he raises it up high enough, that'll actually be able to start growing over the water. Eventually, when this one gets bigger, I think they should do the same with something else to keep it up above the water and give a nice shade area for the fish to hang out. Check it out. Is that solid? Nice and solid. Great job, Ralph. And that'll keep that branch out of the water. They'll be able to trim that bottom, and that'll look super natural in there. Ralphie is adding that creeping Jenny like we were talking about right under that Norway. Checking the water level, making sure it's just sitting right at water level. The roots can still get wet, and that'll start spreading beautifully underneath that tree. We're strapping up the final boulders here on the project. A lot of those larger boulders will be outcropping boulders. We're gonna put on the lower side and around the back side of that waterfall there. It's almost lunchtime, so once we get this couple of things set, foam the waterfall, and then we gotta start cleanup. So it's mid-afternoon on the final day, and we got some nice topsoil here, and we're doing the top edges and spraying it around to level out the outside areas. The pond is pretty much clean and ready to be filled, thanks to Carlos over here. Check out that rock work down below. A lot of times you don't get to appreciate that, but that looks absolutely amazing. Raphael's working on finishing up the waterfall, and I'm putting some character boulders around the outside, and we're ready for cleanup. So when doing a split waterfall, it's very easy to get both sides level to each other using 2 cans of foam and a 4-foot level, 2-foot level, or maybe even a 6-foot level. Depending on the span, you can get both of those falls perfectly level. So when the pumps turn on, they look amazing. It's really starting to take shape. The topsoil's around the outside edge, finishing up the waterfall, last couple of character boulders, and we're able to put the rest of the stuff in that truck once all that soil gets dumped out of there. That way we can take all the leftover rock home. All the rubble and garbage will go inside this truck. We got garbage bags, pallets of stuff. Last but not least, we got to get these fish back in the pond. But first, we are waiting for Carlos to finish cleaning down the waterfall. He's pushing water in. That pump over there is sucking water out. And we're almost ready to fill this pond up. If you liked what you saw on the video today, make sure you hit that like button, press that subscribe button, and ring the bell. It means a lot to me and my team here at Garden State Koi. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week for another episode. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.